My name is Dan Bongino, FBI, and I will never, ever let this Epstein story go. Ever. Because of what I heard and what I know. I'm never letting it go. God damn, it must feel fucking dumb to have released that video back then, huh, Dan Bongino? Because it's no secret now. Normally it's like I'd like to talk about something else than I know that everyone is talking about. But of course, everyone is talking about it. I just think I'll tell you guys what I've learned from this. Right? Look, I put out a video months ago. Right, especially after that interview. I think it was right then and there with the interview that Cash and Dan gave to Fox, where they looked like they were on a hostage video. You know what I mean? I think then I put out a video saying we're never going to see any Epstein files or any shit like that. Forget it. That was the preview of that. We're never seeing anything. And so I hate to be right about something like this, but and it's actually double depressing here. I wouldn't want to be right about this. I really, really thought, or I guess I didn't think that. I really hoped that I was wrong, right? And that what Pam Bondi said, okay, we got finally, here's how that went, right? So it went like, we're in, Pam Bondi's in. Now we want the Epstein files. Oh, the New York office only gave us some. They're hiding others, and so they raid the fucking New York offices. They got all the files now, right? And Pam Bondi says, well, there's so many files, we have to send them across the country to all the FBI offices to do their investigations in their local areas on these people, right? That's what they said. I heard her fucking say it. You know what I mean? Oh, God. And now it's just like there's nothing there. All right. Look, am I disappointed that I'm not going to get to see the Epstein files as far as like who the clients were and blah, blah, blah? Sure, I was curious. I'm curious, right? I was curious. And out of curiosity, I would have liked to see them, right? But that's not why I'm pissed off, right? What I'm pissed off about is this is proof, right, that there is no stopping the deep state in America, right? This is it. You know what I'm saying? There's not going to be stopping the deep state. I know Donald Trump wants to do it. I believe 100% he wants to do it. I believe him. But he can't do it by himself, right? He can't do it by himself. He's not going to be able to do it. In the end, the deep state's always going to be there. And look, it's really not that bad of a deal for y'all, okay? I mean, I'd rather be living in America sometimes, a lot of the times, while Donald Trump is president anyway, than I would in Germany, because, you know, you're just a lot more free in America. So actually, here's the deal, okay? Here's the deal. It's like not any different from back in the times when there were kings, right? So the kings were living large, and their family was living large, and the people that worked for their family were living pretty large, you know what I'm saying? And then it kind of trickled down to, you know, the people that were the plebes, like they're living outside the gates, right? And they, basically the kings and the queens, they kind of kept those people happy with the bare minimum shit, right? They didn't want them to revolt. They understood that there were more of them than there are of them, you know what I mean? They understood they had to keep these people at least partially satisfied, and that's what they did, you know what I mean? Of course, they did the bare minimum. And that's basically where we are today as far as governments and their citizens are concerned. And America is unfortunately not the exemption, which everybody was hoping that it would be, right? Everybody was hoping with Trump coming in a second time that this time, knowing what Trump knows now, and the whole different, better team of handpicked people that are on the MAGA agenda, everybody was under the impression, okay, now we're going to see deep state heads roll here. And we're not. And the Jeffrey, and the Epstein thing, look, there's not that many things worse than a criminal pedophile ring. You know what I mean? And if you're not going to fucking go after that, are the people involved. And there's really, and there's a lot of speculations of what the reasons are. I might get into that, but aside from what the reasons could be, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The fact is, for reasons that we will never know, right? The American government, even under Donald Trump, is going to allow rich, powerful pedophiles and their cohorts to get away with molesting maybe hundreds, thousands, I don't know, lots of girls, right? Lots of victims. On an island belonging to Jeffrey Epstein, right? And there's more than enough evidence out there already from investigations done previously that is the case, right? And whether he was doing it for blackmail or whatever, there is really, multiple amounts of evidence pointing to, and that's evidence is not proof, okay? But there's evidence, massive amounts of evidence pointing to that there were other people. There were clients. Now, there may not be a client list, right? Okay, right? There may not be a list of them. That might be the case. But there were people that were making use of what Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell had to offer. No fucking doubt, right? And nobody believes this shit, right? Nobody believes this shit. So what that means is Cash and Dan and Pam Bondi and maybe even Donald Trump are obviously willing to tank their entire reputations for this case, right? They're obvious, whether they want to do it, whether they're being forced to do it, irrelevant. They're doing it. So this case is important enough that these people are going to have to take a dive under the train for this case to make sure that these people get away with what they're getting away with, right? Now, look, it might be believable if there was like only 3 indictments, right? Only 3 people, and the people are like, what? No, no Bill Clinton, no fucking. If there were even 3, then you could go, okay, but there's 3 people that they've got enough evidence on that they're indicting them and charging them with something. So, okay, maybe Clinton was there, maybe Bill Gates was there, but there's just not enough evidence to get them. But they're at least getting the ones they have evidence on. No, they don't. There's nobody. Like, they're prosecuting no one. They're just saying, nothing to see here. That's it. So, okay. That shows to me that somebody is higher up than Cash and Dan and Pam. And the only person that's supposed to be is the president. And for some reason, the president could force them to release all the files to the public, but isn't doing so. And the only reason why I think that Donald Trump might be doing that is because you don't want people that just knew Jeffrey Epstein to suddenly get painted as a child raping pedophile, even though they had nothing to do with that at all. So you want to protect those people. And sure, you want to protect the victims. Nobody's asking to see child porn. You know what I'm saying? So why they keep saying that we're not going to release child porn? Well, no, nobody's fucking asking to release child porn. You know what I'm saying? So, why is Donald Trump going along with this? Well, I guess that he is believing Cash and Dan and Pam, that there just really isn't anything to see here. And it's also not part of Donald Trump's agenda to be busy with the Jeffrey Epstein case, right? I think Donald Trump's just going to take what they say and go, okay, well, then that's it. Okay, move on, next shit, right? Trump wants to move forward. He wants to move on. So if he just believes them, maybe he wasn't that involved in it to begin with. Maybe he is on the list or in the client files, or they found something that would hurt Donald Trump, so they're covering it up now. Whatever it is, it shows that the American government, no matter under what leadership, no matter whether it's Republicans or Democrats in power, there is a deep state that is actually running things behind the scenes and obviously calls the shots when it comes to certain things, right? And look, I hate that. I hate it. But it's clearly too powerful to take out. Otherwise, Donald Trump and his administration would be doing that, and they just aren't. Now, Could it be that they're going to be investigating people for the next 3.5 years, and eventually, and after, we're going to see something? Yeah, maybe that's right. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's right. But it sure doesn't look like it from here, right? My hopes of the deep state getting squashed are non-existent, basically. It's just not happening. Because if they're willing to cover up for a pedophile ring and let the people involved get away with it without even really investigating or hauling people into court or into the department to question people or anything, nothing. You know what I'm saying? No moves have been made at all. Right? And if they would have made moves, they would have told everybody because they know how ridiculous they look. So, at some point, they just had to bite the fucking bullet on this and say, okay, we got to just say there's nothing there, and that's it, the end of it. We got to squash this for whatever reason. And there could be 1,000 reasons, but the reason doesn't matter, right? It just doesn't matter. The fact is, you and me and all the regular plebs out there are in a situation that it's just like it was during Kings and Queens time, except our situation is just a lot more luxurious than then. We have indoor plumbing, we've got Netflix, we can get some drugs and party, you know what I mean? And we can have some fun, and basically that's it. Let them eat cake is the standard even today, right? Let them eat cake. That's it. It's the standard today. They know that they can't completely push an entire population of people over the fucking edge, or they're going to get ransacked, and they know that, right? And so you guys sometimes get a tax break, and you get to celebrate 4th of July and freedom and blah, and you get a freedom of speech pretty much when the government wants to give it to you. If they want to take it, they'll take it. If they want to censor you, they'll censor you. You have some places you have the right to bear arms, like kinda, and but you're free in comparison to most other the dictatorships or shit like that. You're freer, right? In Germany, it's the same. We're free, but we're not really free. We're freer than other places, right? And America's the same. And basically, what it's like is going to be the government's going to tell you, listen, we're going to take care of the basics, defense, infrastructure, give you a tax break here and there, schools and shit, and you guys, that's what you guys get out of this, right? And how we do it, and how we make the sausage, and what we involve ourselves in other countries and shit, is basically none of your plebs' fucking business, right? We're gonna keep doing this the way we see fit to do it, and you can be happy you're not in a cage somewhere. That's basically the attitude of the government, no matter who's running it. And it's not just America. That's the same thing here in Germany. We are nothing more than mere plebs, right? With just a lot more luxury and a lot more freedom than in the 1800s. You know what I mean? So great. That's good. I can live with that. If I couldn't live with it, then I'd have to kill myself, because we have no choice but to live with it. If we want that to stop, there's going to have to be changes made that seem, insurmountable from my standpoint. You know what I mean? Because again, if even Trump and his team and the cabinet and the people in there can't eradicate the deep state, they can't hold. There are just certain people that they can't hold accountable, then it's done. Then there is a two-tiered system of justice in America. So I don't want to hear any more shit from any more Republicans or any officials in America. None. No judges, no cops, no fucking politicians. I don't want to hear. Nobody's above the law, because today, with this Epstein drama, they clearly said, okay, there's people above the law. There just are. We can't tell you why we suddenly completely 180'd on this. We can't tell you why we're not going to go after anybody. We can't tell you anything. And so we're going to tell you, basically, guys, shut the fuck up about this. It's over. It's over. That's what they're saying. We tried to fucking back you guys down and hint at this and say, oh, look, he really killed himself. And we tried to like put this fire out. It's not going out. And so now we're coming out and saying, listen, we are deep state. Cash and Dan Bongino, we are part of the deep state. We are going to cover this up. And you people are going to stop fucking asking questions about it. And that's the end. That's basically what they're saying to y'all. Right? That's basically what they're saying. So, what it comes down to is what you get as a pleb from the government, you can grade based on, outcome and results, right? If you get a good tax cut somewhere and you're saving some money, or they've done something for your kids at school, or anything actually, you know what I mean? Then hey, that's what you get. Those are good actions. That's right. That's good. But if you're going to continue to grade the government based on what they do in other countries, what wars they get you involved in, any of that stuff, what kind of corruption they're involved in, if they let a pedophile ring just get away with it, you know what I mean? That's basically above your pay grade as a pleb. You know what I mean? You can be happy with the scraps we give you. And if you if you keep bugging us, just get out of our fucking way. That's what they want, and that's how they're acting, even under Donald Trump. So any hopes of crushing the deep state, no. I think that's out the window now. Okay. Because whatever else they have to crush can't be as bad as a whole bunch of people fucking little girls on an island. It can't be as bad as that. So if they're going to let this go, they're going to let them all go for everything. Russiagate, fucking every shit. COVID, everything's, they're going to let them all go. They're going to let them all get away with it. They're not going to go after anybody powerful or political or that can be seen as retribution. I don't see it happening. Maybe I'll be surprised, but I don't think so. And so I basically am like kind of relieved, right? I'm kind of relieved that now I know that it was exciting, like to see, is Donald Trump and the administration going to be able to take out this deep state? It was, what if they can't? You know what I'm saying? What if they can't? Well, turns out they can't, right? Or they won't, whatever. They're not doing it. And so that's it. That's where we're at. I guess that we can, and that I really mean this. I know it sounds sarcastic, but I really mean this. We can count ourselves lucky to be in the West under, I guess, deep state tyranny instead of an actual tyranny in other countries, right? It could be worse. It could be a lot worse. So I'm gonna continue to talk about the things that I find despicable, but I think that we can stop trying to convince other people and ourselves that anything is going to really change when it comes down to what the government does, what it wants to do, who it chooses to protect, who it chooses to prosecute. Because the thing is, the government will throw the book at your ass. You know what I'm saying? DUI, fuck. License lost, can't get to work, you lose your fucking job. Don't care. Don't give a fuck. That's the rules, guys. That's the rules. Oh, you have the wrong silencer in the wrong state, or you brought a gun over state lines in the wrong place, or you defended yourself and used something that you accidentally killed the person that was attacking you with, and now you got to go to prison. Sorry, them's the rules, babe. Them's the rules. But apparently, rich fucking child molesters. Nah, no, guys, we can't really do anything about that for whatever reason. We can't even explain the reason to you. You know what I mean? They won't even explain the fucking reason, right? Which is the craziest shit. You would think that at the very least, if they've got to come out here and lie completely, right? Lie completely, like totally lie. Like they didn't even try to make up some bullshit story this time. They were just like yeah. There ain't shit there, guys. Sorry. That's all we can say. They wouldn't even sign their name to the fucking memo. It's just a non-signed memo from the DOJ saying, guys, F you. You know what I mean? It's great. So, hey, at least we know where we are. At least we know where we stand, right? At least we know where we stand. We are the plebs. We get to vote for people, and those people might or might not sometimes carry out some of our interests, you know, if we're lucky. But at least they won't kill us, right? They won't kill us. They won't fucking, you know, they'll try not to wrongfully imprison us, right? They'll basically let us be us as long as we let them do them. That's where it comes down to. It's like the mafia, right? The mafia is like, look, hey, we'll take care of you, you know? We'll take care of you, but keep your fucking nose out of our business, all right? Yeah, that's what it is. It's just on a bigger scale. And now we know for sure, right? Now there's no question, right? Because, again, let's not forget, Biden may have a pardon, but we don't need to prosecute Biden for anything. We would, however, like to know who the fuck was running the country while Biden was in office, because we do know Biden is mentally fucked. We do know that he was, he was not all there during his presidency. There's no question. He was too incompetent to stand trial, you know, according to a judge or a lawyer or somebody from the DOJ or something. You know what I mean? And so now we know that Biden wasn't running shit. How fucking hard can it be to find out who was? Why is nobody getting hauled into a police station somewhere or the FBI's offices and being grilled and questioned like, yo, who the fuck was involved in this shit? No. So there you go. None of the things that involve the deep state are we getting any real info on, right? Somebody's going to say the JFK files? Yeah, okay. Well, first, that still didn't have a smoking gun, even though we all know where it points to, right? Still no smoking gun. And it was a DOJ and FBI of people that are long dead. So I guess they could kind of like let that one slide. They're like, okay, well, we got to give them something. You know what I'm saying? We got to, not the Jeffrey Epstein shit. No Russiagate corruptors. None of the Democrats. None of the politicians. None of those people. We'll give them these JFK shit and maybe they'll shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? I do feel duped, right? I do feel duped because I really did think Cash and Dan had me convinced, man. I was like, yo, if these motherfuckers get into the government, oh, fuck. Democrats, watch the fuck out. Woo! I was on that train, guys, really. And now I'm like, yo, these motherfuckers are completely different people. Fuck you, Cash Patel and Dan Bongino. You know what I mean? And hey, look, even, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Say it's above their pay grade. Somebody shut them down. Okay, let's say that's true. These two people are two people that I would have, at the time that they were not in government, said they will resign if that's the case. If they are stopped from higher ups from doing their job and informing the American people about this Epstein shit, which they've been on like a dog with a bone before, for years before they got into office, right? If somebody would tell Cash and Dan, no, you cannot bring this, you can't file a suit, or you can't fucking prosecute these people, you can't do anything about this, I would expect Cash and Dan to get to the public microphone, call a press conference and say, we are resigning because we cannot do the job we were installed here to do. We just can't. It's above. We wanted to do investigations on Epstein. We got shut down from higher up. More we can't say, but we're stepping down. We can't do this job like this. But they're not doing that. They're staying there. So that means fuck Cash Patel and Dan Bongino. I'd have respect for him if that was the case. Then at least we would know where we stand. But we don't. No, now we got to believe them. But no, I don't believe shit they're saying because what they're saying is clearly bullshit. You know what I mean? You don't have to be an FBI behavioral analyst to fucking have looked at Cash and Dan give those interviews and see that they're totally different people. You know, you've got the side-by-sides out right now from 2019 to 2025 or 2023 to 2025 of Dan and Cash saying something then and now what they're saying. You know, they look like different people. They look like they have a fucking gun to their head. You don't have to be a genius to figure out they're fucking lying. Well, Rob, what if they got threatened? What if somebody threatened to kill their kids? Well, I don't know if Cash has any kids, and I know Dan has kids. Well, what if? What if? You know, that's that's a pretty good reason to resign. You know what I mean? Well, what if they're saying he can't resign and they're going to kill his kids? Well, you know what I mean? Well, then, okay, well then, you know what I mean? What can, then that's it. Then they got to him. You know what I mean? Then they got to him. You know? What can I say? But do you think that's the case? I don't think that's the case. You know what I mean? I don't think that's the case. I think the deep state is alive and kicking, and there are just going to be, they're going to allow everybody to talk about the things and journalists and be journalists on stuff and call them out on things. They don't care. They don't care. But it's not changing people, right? That's what they're saying. They're like, look, you guys can do all the reporting you want, do all the bitching you want, and you can think what you want. But when it comes to certain things, there's just, you guys don't have a say. You know what I'm saying? Because you are the plebs. You are not a part of the inner circle. And since you are not part of the inner circle, you don't have a voice, right? It's a big club and you're not in it. Fucking George Carlin. That's goddamn right. We are not in the club. Most people are not in the club. You know what I mean? And so people are wondering, well, how the fuck can the club be so small and we be so large and they're the ones with the secret fucking elite club and not us? Well, ask yourself that. Why is that? You know what I mean? Why is that? And that's because the people have allowed it to get to this stage, and they're now basically powerless to roll it back. So unless you're willing to, take up arms against the deep state and forcibly remove the government, this is what you've got. You've got a government that is cruel, evil, corrupt, and coercive, but they will at least take care of the bare necessities that they are elected to do, or at least make it look like that to you. And that should be enough. And if it's not, basically their answer is going to be, well, then just be happy you don't live in Mozambique or some shit like that, right? America's still the best place on the planet. Probably true. Probably true. It probably is the best place on the planet. So basically the moral of the story is quit your bitching. The deep state's there to stay, right? We can keep calling them out and shit, and we will. You know, we will, because it's outrageous, right? But now we know where we stand. Don't believe anything any government tells you. Don't believe anything any of these officials tell you. Grade them based on their results only, their actions only. Words don't mean shit. Even in Donald Trump's case, even for Donald Trump's administration, words don't mean shit. Actions speak louder than words. That's what you can grade these people on. And as long as you're satisfied, then basically stay out of everything else. As long as you're satisfied with your life, then that's all you can do. You know what I'm saying? But changing the deep state or getting rid of them or fucking, whatever, that you can't do it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And so now we know. Yeah, now we know. Two-tiered system of justice, rules for thee but not for some people. And as long as you play by those rules, you're all right. You're right. And sometimes, you'll have a repressive government like the Biden administration that will try to censor you and take away your rights and, take away your business because of some disease or some shit like that. Well, then you're just in a shit cycle. You know what I mean? He's got bad cards that election. You know what I mean? Because they don't have to follow the same rules, right, as you. You have to just swallow it. You have to just take it. You have to just take it. That's where we're at. All right, well, it's a pretty black-pilled view on it. I get that. I know that people don't want to see it like that. I know that there's still people out there right now, you know what I mean, that are, taking it up for them, like trying to somehow justify this, like, they got to be scared for their lives, or, these people are so powerful and rich and that they can't take them down just like that, or they're dead. And there's all kinds of reasons probably why it's like this. But the fact is, we know that this is the way it is now. We know that they are going to do what they want to do, no matter what, because they know there will never be consequences to what they do, right? And there won't be. There won't be. So, there you go. That's the way it unfortunately is. Very sorry to say it. Very sorry to be the black-pilled bitcher here. But hey, and I'm calling it like I see it on this. That's the end of it. Don't worry. Maybe we'll get to see some, some of the other victims speak out. You know what I mean? But if they can shut Dan Bongino and Kash Patel up, and Pam Bondi and the Trump administration, they could shut up these women as well. And they probably did it with money. Why would those women be interested in dragging up this shit and risking their lives? Or they could just take money and shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? That's probably their best recourse. That's what I would do in their case. So I think that's about it for Epstein. Case closed.